Maya Johnson took a deep breath as she stood in front of the big glass doors of Riverside High School. Her hands were a little shaky as she held her new backpack. Today was her first day at a new school, and she was nervous. The building looked much bigger than her old school back in Detroit. "You can do this," Maya whispered to herself. She had moved here with her family just 2 weeks ago. Her dad got a new job at the car factory in town, and they had to leave everything behind. Maya missed her old friends, her old teachers, and even her old bedroom. But she knew this was a fresh start, and she was ready to make the best of it. Maya was 17 years old and had always been a good student. She loved math and science classes the most. Her dream was to become an engineer, just like her father. She was smart, hardworking, and always tried to be kind to everyone she met. Her parents had taught her to be proud of who she was and to never let anyone make her feel bad about herself. As Maya walked through the front doors, she noticed how different this school felt from her old one. In Detroit, her school had students from many different backgrounds. There were black students, white students, Hispanic students, and Asian students all learning together. But here at Riverside High, Maya could see that most of the students were white. She was one of only a few black students in the hallways. Maya wore her hair in beautiful braids that her mother had done the night before. The braids had colorful beads that made soft clicking sounds when she walked. She had on her favorite jeans and a bright yellow t-shirt that made her feel confident. Maya always dressed nicely for school because she believed that when you look good, you feel good. The hallways were full of students talking and laughing with their friends. Maya could hear locker doors slamming and sneakers squeaking on the shiny floors. Some students looked at her with curious eyes. A few smiled and said hello, which made Maya feel a little better. But she also noticed some students whispering to each other while looking in her direction. Maya found the main office and walked inside. Behind the desk sat a friendly-looking woman with gray hair and kind eyes. The nameplate on her desk said, "Mrs. Henderson." "Good morning, dear," Mrs. Henderson said with a warm smile. "You must be Maya Johnson, our new student." "Yes, ma'am," Maya replied politely. "I'm here to get my class schedule." Mrs. Henderson handed Maya a folder with her schedule, a map of the school, and some other important papers. "Welcome to Riverside High, Maya. I hope you'll be very happy here. If you need anything, don't hesitate to come back and see me." "Thank you so much," Maya said, feeling grateful for the woman's kindness. Maya looked at her schedule. Her first class was chemistry with Mr. Peterson in room 204. She studied the school map and found that room 204 was on the second floor. Maya had always been good at chemistry, so she felt excited about starting with a subject she enjoyed. As Maya walked through the hallways looking for her classroom, she noticed more students staring at her. Some seemed curious, others looked friendly, but a few had expressions that made her uncomfortable. Maya tried to ignore the stares and focus on finding her classroom. Finally, Maya found room 204. She walked inside and saw about 25 desks arranged in rows. Some students were already sitting down, talking quietly with each other. Maya chose a seat in the middle of the classroom. She didn't want to sit in the front row and look too eager, but she also didn't want to hide in the back. Maya took out her notebook and pencils from her backpack. She liked to be organized and ready for class. As she was arranging her supplies, she heard whispers behind her. Maya turned around slightly and saw 3 girls sitting in the back corner of the classroom. They were looking at her and whispering to each other. One of the girls had long blonde hair and was wearing expensive-looking clothes. She seemed to be the leader of the group. The other 2 girls were listening to everything the blonde girl said and nodding their heads in agreement. Maya tried not to pay attention to them, but she could feel their eyes on her. When the bell rang, all the students became quiet. Mr. Peterson, the chemistry teacher, walked to the front of the classroom. He was a tall man with a beard and friendly eyes. "Good morning, class," Mr. Peterson said. "I hope everyone had a good weekend. Before we start today's lesson, I'd like to introduce our new student. Maya Johnson has joined us from Detroit. Maya, would you like to tell the class a little bit about yourself?" Maya felt her cheeks get warm as everyone turned to look at her. She stood up slowly and smiled at her new classmates. "Hi, everyone," Maya said in a clear voice. "My name is Maya Johnson. I just moved here from Detroit with my family. I'm excited to be at Riverside High and to learn chemistry with all of you. I hope we can be friends." Most of the students smiled back at Maya, and a few even said welcome or nice to meet you. But Maya noticed that the three girls in the back corner were not smiling. Instead, they were whispering to each other again and giving her strange looks. Mr. Peterson started the lesson about chemical reactions. Maya tried to focus on what he was saying, but she kept thinking about those three girls. She had a feeling that they were going to cause problems for her, but she hoped she was wrong. During the class, Maya answered several questions correctly when Mr. Peterson asked the class about different chemicals and their properties. She could see that her teacher was impressed with her knowledge. Some of her classmates seemed impressed too, but she noticed that the three girls in the back looked annoyed when she gave the right answers. When the class ended, Maya packed up her things and got ready to go to her next class. As she was walking toward the door, she heard one of the girls from the back corner say something to her friends, but she couldn't hear exactly what it was. Whatever it was, it made the other two girls laugh in a way that didn't sound very nice. Maya walked out of the classroom and checked her schedule for her next class. It was English literature with Mrs. Brown in room 118. As she walked down the hallway, Maya tried to stay positive. She reminded herself that it was only her first day and that it would take time to make friends and feel comfortable at her new school. But deep down, Maya had a feeling that her time at Riverside High was going to be more challenging than she had hoped. She just didn't know how challenging it was going to be. By Wednesday morning, Maya had started to notice something strange happening at school. Everywhere she went, she kept seeing the same three girls from her chemistry class. The blonde girl seemed to be their leader, and Maya had learned her name was Brittany Summers. The other two girls were Jessica and Amanda, and they followed Brittany around like puppies. Maya tried to ignore them, but it was getting harder each day. When she walked down the hallways, she could hear them whispering behind her. When she sat down for lunch, they would sit at a nearby table and stare at her while talking quietly among themselves. It was starting to make Maya feel very uncomfortable. Brittany Summers was not like the other students at Riverside High. She came from the richest family in town. Her father owned 3 different businesses, including the biggest restaurant and a car dealership. Brittany always wore the most expensive clothes and carried designer bags that cost more than most people's monthly groceries. She had been the most popular girl in school since middle school, and she was used to getting whatever she wanted. Maya learned more about Brittany from other students. Some kids were afraid of her because she could be very mean when she didn't like someone. Others tried to be her friend because they wanted to be popular too. Brittany had grown up in this small town where almost everyone looked exactly like her. She had never really been around black people before, and Maya's arrival seemed to bother her a lot. On Thursday morning, Maya was walking to her math class when she heard footsteps behind her. She turned around and saw Brittany and her 2 friends following her down the hallway. Maya walked a little faster, but they walked faster too. Finally, Maya stopped at her locker to get her math book. "Hi there," Brittany said in a fake sweet voice. "You're the new girl, right?" "Maya?" "Yes, that's me," Maya replied politely. She had been taught by her parents to always be respectful, even when other people weren't being nice to her. "Where exactly are you from?" Brittany asked, even though she already knew the answer. "I mean, where are you really from?" Maya felt confused by the question. "I'm from Detroit. My family moved here 2 weeks ago." "Oh, Detroit," Brittany said with a strange smile. "That's a dangerous city, isn't it? Why did your family have to leave? Were you running away from something?" Jessica and Amanda giggled behind Brittany. Maya felt her stomach tighten, but she kept her voice calm. "My father got a job at the factory here. We moved for his work." Brittany said, looking Maya up and down. "Your hair is so interesting. Do you do that yourself, or do you go to a special place to get it done like that?" Maya touched her braids self-consciously. Her mother had spent 3 hours doing her hair, and Maya thought it looked beautiful. "My mom did it for me," she said quietly. "Oh, how nice," Brittany said, but her voice didn't sound nice at all. "It's just so different from what we're used to here. I hope you don't mind if people stare. We don't see hair like that very often in our town." Maya felt her cheeks getting hot, but she didn't know what to say. She had never had anyone talk to her about her hair in such a strange way before. The bell rang, and Maya was grateful that she could escape to her math class. But as she walked away, she heard Brittany say something to her friends that made them all laugh loudly. Maya couldn't hear exactly what it was, but she knew it was about her. During lunch that day, Maya sat, alone at a table near the windows. She had brought a sandwich from home and was trying to read a book while she ate. She liked to read during lunch because it helped her feel less lonely. But today, she couldn't focus on the words because she kept thinking about her conversation with Brittany. Maya looked around the cafeteria and saw Brittany sitting with a large group of popular students. They were all laughing and having fun, and Maya wished she could feel that comfortable at her new school. She missed her friends from Detroit, who had accepted her exactly as she was. Suddenly, Maya looked up from her book and saw Brittany walking toward her table. Jessica and Amanda were right behind her, and they all had strange expressions on their faces. Maya's heart started beating faster because she had a feeling this wasn't going to be a friendly conversation. "Mind if we sit with you?" Brittany asked, but she didn't wait for an answer. She sat down across from Maya while Jessica and Amanda sat on either side of her. "You know," Brittany said, "I've been thinking about our conversation this morning. I'm just curious about something. You seem really smart in chemistry class. You always know the right answers." "Thank you," Maya said carefully. She could tell that Brittany wasn't really giving her a compliment. "I was just wondering," Brittany continued, "do you think maybe you got into those advanced classes because of, diversity stuff? Like, do they have to let a certain number of students like you into the smart classes?" Maya felt like someone had punched her in the stomach. She had worked very hard to get into advanced classes. She had studied for hours every night, gotten excellent grades, and earned her place through her own efforts. But Brittany was suggesting that she didn't deserve to be there. "I earned my place in those classes," Maya said firmly. "I work very hard and I get good grades." "Oh, I'm sure you do," Brittany said with that fake sweet voice again. "I just think it's interesting how things work sometimes. You know what I mean?" Jessica and Amanda were smiling in a mean way, like they were enjoying watching Maya feel uncomfortable. Maya realized that this was not just curiosity. These girls were trying to hurt her feelings on purpose. "I think I should go," Maya said, starting to pack up her lunch. "Oh, don't leave," Brittany said. "We're just having a friendly conversation. I'm just trying to understand how things work around here. This is our school, you know. We've been here for years and we know how everything works. I hope you'll be able to fit in and follow the rules." The way Brittany said "our school" made Maya feel like she was being warned about something. It was like Brittany was telling her that she didn't belong there and that she better be careful. "I understand," Maya said quietly, even though she didn't really understand what Brittany meant by rules. "Good," Brittany said, standing up from the table. "I'm glad we had this little chat. I hope we can be friends, Maya. I really do, but..." The way Brittany said it didn't sound friendly at all. It sounded like a threat. As the three girls walked away, Maya could hear them whispering and giggling again. She felt her eyes filling with tears, but she refused to cry at school. Maya had been through difficult times before, and she knew she was stronger than these girls thought she was. But as Maya sat alone at her table, she realized that her problems at Riverside High were just beginning. Brittany and her friends were not going to leave her alone, and Maya had no idea how much worse things were going to get. The next few days at Riverside High became a nightmare for Maya. What had started as whispers and strange looks had turned into something much worse. Brittany and her friends were no longer trying to hide their mean behavior. They were making Maya's life difficult in every way they could think of. On Friday morning, Maya found nasty notes stuck inside her locker. The notes said things like, "Go back where you came from, and you don't belong here." Maya's hands shook as she read them. She quickly threw the notes away, but the words stayed in her mind all day long. During lunch, Maya tried to sit at different tables to avoid Brittany's group. But no matter where she sat, other students would suddenly remember they had somewhere else to be. Maya realized that Brittany had been talking to other kids about her, and now many students were afraid to be seen with Maya. They didn't want to become Brittany's next target. Brittany had also started spreading rumors about Maya around the school. She told people that Maya thought she was better than everyone else. She said Maya was stuck up and rude. She even made up stories about Maya's family, claiming they had moved to town because they were in some kind of trouble back in Detroit. None of these things were true, but some students began to believe the rumors anyway. Maya could see it in the way they looked at her in the hallways. Some kids who had been friendly to her during her first week now avoided eye contact when she walked by. Maya tried talking to her teachers about what was happening. She spoke to Mrs. Henderson in the office, Mr. Peterson from chemistry class, and Mrs. Brown from English. But their responses made Maya feel even more alone. "Oh, girls can be catty sometimes," Mrs. Henderson said with a wave of her hand. "I'm sure it will blow over soon, just try to ignore them." Mr. Peterson seemed uncomfortable when Maya mentioned that some of the comments seemed to be about her race. "Now, Maya," he said, "let's not make this about that. I'm sure these girls don't mean anything by it. Maybe you should try to be more friendly and outgoing." Mrs. Brown suggested that Maya should try harder to fit in and not be so sensitive. Maya left each conversation feeling worse than before. The adults who were supposed to help her were telling her that the problem was her fault. Meanwhile, Brittany was getting bolder. She had started making comments loud enough for other students to hear when Maya walked by in the hallways. She would say things like, "Some people need to learn their place," or, "I wonder what it's like to get everything handed to you." Jessica and Amanda had also started joining in more actively. Jessica would accidentally bump into Maya in the hallways, making her drop her books. Amanda would make rude comments about Maya's clothes or her hair when she thought Maya couldn't hear her. The worst part was that some of Brittany's comments had racial undertones that made Maya's stomach hurt. Brittany would make jokes about Maya's hair, her skin color, or her family that weren't exactly racist enough for teachers to notice, but Maya knew exactly what Brittany meant. Maya had started keeping a notebook where she wrote down everything that happened to her each day. Her parents had taught her to always document discrimination, just in case she needed proof later. The notebook was getting fuller every day. By the following Tuesday, Maya was dreading going to school. She would wake up with a sick feeling in her stomach, knowing that she would have to face Brittany and her friends again. Maya had always loved learning, but now she couldn't focus in her classes because she was always worried about what would happen next. That Tuesday afternoon, everything came to a head. Maya was sitting on a bench in the school courtyard, waiting for her mother to pick her up. She had a book open in her lap, trying to read and calm her nerves after another difficult date. Maya looked up and saw Brittany walking toward her with Jessica and Amanda. But this time, they weren't alone. Behind them was a group of about 15 other students. Some of them were Brittany's regular friends, but others were just curious kids who had heard there might be drama. Maya's heart started pounding. She had never seen Brittany with such a large group before, and she could tell that something big was about to happen. She thought about getting up and walking away, but she knew that would just make things worse. Brittany would probably follow her and make an even bigger scene. Well, Brittany said loudly as she got closer to Maya's bench. "Look who's sitting all alone again. Poor Maya, the girl who thinks she's too good for everyone else." The group of students formed a circle around Maya's bench. Some of them looked uncomfortable, like they didn't really want to be there but didn't know how to leave. Others seemed excited, like they were about to watch a good show. Maya closed her book and stood up slowly. She could feel her legs shaking, but she tried to keep her voice steady. "I don't want any trouble, Brittany," she said. "Trouble?" Brittany laughed loudly. "Who said anything about trouble? I'm just trying to have a conversation with our new student. Isn't that what good students do? Help newcomers feel welcome?" Jessica and Amanda giggled at Brittany's fake innocent tone. Maya could see that some students in the crowd were starting to take out their phones. They were going to record whatever happened next. "You know what I've been wondering about you, Maya?" Brittany continued, her voice getting louder so everyone could hear. "I've been wondering why your family really had to leave Detroit. I mean, people don't just pack up and move to a small town like ours unless they're running away from something, right? Maya felt her face getting hot. My father got a job here. I already told you that. Oh yes, the job story, Brittany said, with a smirk. But I've been doing some research. I know people who know people in Detroit, and I heard some very interesting things about your family. Maya knew that Brittany was lying. Her family had nothing to hide, and they had moved for exactly the reason Maya had said. But she could see that some of the students in the crowd were starting to believe whatever story Brittany was about to tell. I heard, Brittany said, pausing for dramatic effect, that your family was involved in some kind of trouble with the police back in Detroit. Gang stuff, maybe. Drug stuff. And they had to leave town fast before something bad happened to them. Maya felt like the world was spinning around her. Brittany's lie was so outrageous and so cruel that Maya couldn't believe anyone would say such a thing. But she could see some students in the crowd nodding their heads like they thought Brittany might be telling the truth. That's not true, Maya said, her voice getting stronger. My father works at an automotive plant. My mother is a nurse. We moved here for work, nothing else. Sure you did, Brittany said with a nasty smile. That's what people like your family always say. But we know the truth, don't we? And maybe it's time everyone else knew the truth too. Maya realized that this moment was going to change everything. Brittany had pushed things too far, and there was no going back now. Maya had tried being polite. She had tried ignoring the harassment, and she had tried getting help from adults. Nothing had worked. Now Maya had to make a choice. She could let Brittany continue spreading lies about her family, or she could finally stand up for herself in front of all these students. Maya took a deep breath and looked directly at Brittany. It was time to show everyone who Maya Johnson really was. Maya looked around at all the faces staring at her. Some students looked excited, waiting to see her cry or get angry. Others looked uncomfortable, like they knew this had gone too far but didn't know what to do. A few students were holding up their phones, recording everything that was happening. For a moment, Maya felt completely alone. Brittany had just told a terrible lie about her family in front of all these people. Maya could see that some students were already starting to believe Brittany's story. Maya knew that if she didn't do something right now, this lie would spread through the whole school by tomorrow. But instead of getting angry or crying like Brittany expected, Maya did something that surprised everyone. She took a deep breath, stood up straight and smiled calmly at Brittany. Then she looked around at all the students who were watching. Thank you, Brittany, Maya said, in a clear, strong voice that everyone could hear. Thank you for giving me this chance to talk to everyone at once. I've been wanting to introduce myself properly to my new classmates, and this seems like the perfect time. Brittany looked confused. This wasn't what she had expected Maya to do. She thought Maya would cry or get angry or run away. But Maya was, standing there looking calm and confident, like she was about to give a presentation in class. My name is Maya Johnson, Maya continued, speaking to the crowd instead of just to Brittany. I'm 17 years old and I moved here from Detroit 2 weeks ago with my parents and my younger brother. I want to tell you the truth about my family, since some people seem to be confused about who we are. Maya's voice was steady and strong. She wasn't shouting or getting upset. She was talking like a teacher explaining something important to her students. My father, Robert Johnson, is a mechanical engineer, Maya said. He worked for General Motors in Detroit for 15 years before he got offered a better job here, at the automotive plant. My mother, Patricia Johnson, is a registered nurse who worked at Detroit Medical Center. She's already found a job at the hospital here in town and will start working next week. Some students in the crowd were starting to look ashamed. They realized they had been ready to believe terrible things about Maya's family without knowing anything about them. Maya continued speaking. I have a 4.2 GPA, which means I get mostly A+ grades in all my classes. I've been on the honor roll every semester since middle school. I'm in advanced chemistry, advanced math, and advanced English because I worked hard and earned my place in those classes. No one gave me anything because of my skin color. I earned everything through my own hard work. Brittany tried to interrupt. That's not what I heard. But Maya held up her hand and kept speaking. I know some of you might be wondering why someone like me would move to a town like this. Let me tell you something about your town that you might not know. Maya had done her homework. When her family decided to move to this town, Maya had spent hours researching its history online. She knew things about their community that even some of the students who had lived there their whole lives didn't know. This town was built by people from many different backgrounds, Maya said. In the 1920s, African American families moved here to work in the first automotive plants. Mexican families came here in the 1930s to work in the farms. Polish families came here in the 1940s to work in the steel mills. This town became successful because people from different places brought their skills and ideas here. The crowd was completely quiet now. Even Brittany had stopped trying to interrupt. Maya was teaching them about their own town's history, and they were learning things they had never heard before. The high school we're standing in right now was built in 1965, Maya continued. Do you know why they built a new high school that year? Because the old high school was too small for all the different families who had moved here to work and build a better life, just like my family is doing now. Maya looked directly at Brittany. I understand that change can be scary. When someone new comes into your world, it can make you feel uncomfortable. But trying to hurt that person doesn't make the change go away. It just makes you look small and mean. Some students in the crowd were starting to nod their heads. Maya's words were making sense to them. I want to talk about something else too, Maya said. I want to talk about the things that have been happening to me since I started school here. Some of you might have heard rumors about me. Some of you might have seen notes in my locker or heard people making comments about my hair or my family. Maya's voice got a little stronger. Those things hurt my feelings. But they also made me sad for the people doing them. Because when you try to hurt someone just because they look different from you, you're really hurting yourself. You're making yourself into someone your future self won't be proud of. Jessica and Amanda, who had been standing next to Brittany, started looking down at their feet. They were beginning to understand how wrong their behavior had been. In a few months, we're all going to graduate from high school, Maya said. Some of you will go to college. Some will get jobs. Some will move to bigger cities where you'll meet people from all over the world. The way you treat people who are different from you right now is practice for the kind of person you'll be as an adult. Maya looked around at all the faces in the crowd. Many students were listening carefully to every word she said. I want to tell you something about racism, Maya said calmly. Racism isn't just about using bad words or being mean to someone because of their skin color. Racism is also about making assumptions about people you don't know. It's about believing stereotypes instead of getting to know someone as an individual. It's about trying to make someone feel like they don't belong somewhere just because they look different from you. The courtyard was so quiet that Maya could hear birds singing in the trees nearby. I'm not telling you this to make you feel bad, Maya continued. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand. When you make comments about my hair, or when you ask me where I'm really from, or when you suggest that I don't deserve to be in advanced classes, you're not just hurting me. You're missing out on the chance to know someone who might become a good friend. Maya turned to look directly at Brittany again. And when you make up lies about my family, you're not just being mean to me. You're showing everyone here what kind of person you choose to be when you're scared or uncomfortable. For the first time since Maya had started talking, Brittany looked like she didn't know what to say. The confident, mean expression had disappeared from her face. She looked young and confused and maybe even a little ashamed. Maya wasn't finished yet. She had more to say and everyone was listening. Maya looked at Brittany one more time, then turned back to the crowd of students who were still listening to every word she said. I want to finish by saying this, Maya continued. I didn't ask to be the only black girl in most of my classes. I didn't ask to be different. But I am different, and that's okay. Being different means I can teach you things you might not learn from someone who looks exactly like you, and you can teach me things too if you give us both a chance. Maya picked up her backpack and her book. I hope some of you will decide to get to know me as a person, instead of making judgments about me based on rumors or the color of my skin. I think you might be surprised by what you learn. With that, Maya started walking toward the school parking lot where her mother was waiting to pick her up. As she walked away, the crowd of students stood in complete silence for several seconds. Then something amazing started to happen. A boy named Marcus, who was in Maya's chemistry class, started clapping. Then a girl named Sarah joined him. Within seconds, more than half the students in the crowd were clapping for Maya. Some of them were even cheering and saying things like, "That was amazing," and "You go, Maya." Brittany stood in the middle of the courtyard looking shocked and confused. For the first time in her life, people weren't following her lead. Instead, they were supporting someone she had tried to hurt. Jessica and Amanda quietly walked away from Brittany, leaving her standing almost alone. By the time Maya got to her mother's car, several students had caught up with her. Marcus was the first one to speak. "Maya, that was incredible," he said. "I'm really sorry about what's been happening to you. I should have said something before, but I was scared of Brittany. That was wrong of me." Sarah nodded in agreement. "I heard some of the rumors Brittany was spreading, and I'm ashamed that I didn't stick up for you. What you just did took real courage." A few other students apologized too. They told Maya they wanted to be her friend and asked if she would sit with them at lunch the next day. Maya felt tears in her eyes, but this time they were happy tears. When Maya got in the car, her mother could see that something important had happened. "How was your day, sweetheart?" she asked. Maya told her mother everything that had occurred in the courtyard. Her mother listened carefully, and when Maya finished talking, she had tears in her eyes too. "I'm so proud of you," her mother said. "You handled that situation with more wisdom and grace than most adults would have. Your father and I raised you to be strong, but you showed strength in a way that I never could have imagined." That evening, Maya's phone started buzzing with text messages and friend requests on social media. The videos that students had recorded in the courtyard were being shared all around the school. But instead of being embarrassed, Maya felt proud. The videos showed her standing up for herself and her family in a powerful way. By Monday morning, everything at Riverside High School had changed. When Maya walked through the front doors, students who had never spoken to her before came up to say hello. Some of them apologized for not being more welcoming during her first weeks at school. Others told her they had learned something important from listening to her speak. During chemistry class, Mr. Peterson made an announcement to the whole class. "I want to apologize to Maya Johnson," he said. "When she came to me for help with some problems she was having, I didn't take her concerns seriously enough. That was wrong of me, and I'm sorry. Moving forward, this classroom will be a safe space for all students, no matter what they look like or where they come from." At lunch, Maya's table was full of new friends. Marcus, Sarah, and several other students sat with her, and they talked about everything from homework to their plans for college. For the first time since starting at Riverside High, Maya felt like she truly belonged there. The biggest change of all happened on Tuesday morning. Maya was at her locker getting books for her first class when someone tapped her on the shoulder. She turned around and saw Brittany standing there alone. Brittany's eyes were red, like she had been crying. "Maya," Brittany said quietly, "can I talk to you for a minute?" Maya nodded and closed her locker. She could see that Brittany was nervous and upset. "I want to apologize," Brittany said, her voice shaking. "What I did to you was terrible. The things I said about your family weren't true, and I knew they weren't true when I said them. I was just scared and angry, and I took it out on you." Brittany wiped tears from her eyes. "I've been thinking about what you said in the courtyard, about what kind of person I want to be as an adult. And I realized that I don't want to be the kind of person who hurts people just because they're different from me." Maya could see that Brittany's apology was real. "Why were you so mean to me?" Maya asked. "What did I do to make you angry?" "You didn't do anything," Brittany admitted. "I think I was jealous of you. You're smart and confident, and you don't seem to care what other people think about you. I've always needed everyone to like me and follow me, but you didn't need that. You were just yourself, and that scared me." Brittany took a deep breath. "I also think I was scared because you made me realize how small my world has been. I've lived in this town my whole life, and I've never really known anyone who was different from me. Instead of being excited to learn new things from you, I tried to push you away." Maya listened carefully to everything Brittany said. She could see that Brittany was being honest about her feelings. "I forgive you," Maya said simply. "But I need you to understand that words can really hurt people. When you spread rumors about someone or make them feel like they don't belong, it can damage them in ways you might not even realize." "I know," Brittany said. "I want to do better, I want to learn from you, if you'll let me. Maya smiled. I'd like that. Maybe we can start over and be friends. From that day forward, Riverside High School became a different place. Students were more welcoming to anyone who was new or different. Teachers paid more attention when students reported bullying or discrimination. And Maya Johnson became not just a student at the school, but a leader who had shown everyone what real strength and courage looked like. Maya had turned a terrible situation into an opportunity to teach an entire school community about acceptance, understanding, and standing up for what's right. She had shown that sometimes the best way to fight hatred is with wisdom, dignity, and the courage to speak the truth.